3 inspectors hammered on our door before sunrise, demanding to see my wife. They didn't know the only inspection scheduled that morning was of their lies, because my wife is the sheriff. Start at the top. I'm Daniel Walker. I fix what squeaks, leaks, and shocks, engines, pipes, wiring, things that behave when you respect them with torque and patience. Heather, my wife, fixes bigger problems. Broken systems and broken people. A week earlier, after the old sheriff decided retirement beat paperwork, the county quietly appointed Heather to fill the badge. A new star on her belt, a new weight on her shoulders. We live on a quiet street. Quiet attracts noise. Ours arrived with bylaws and a smile sharp enough to cut. Karen Lawson, HOA president and collector of rules. She spends them like counterfeit cash. At 4:52 a.m., the door shook under a heavy, official-sounding knock. The power was out, streetlights dead, house dark, except our porch. I'd installed a solar LED and a battery camera. In that hard circle of light stood 3 men in khakis, beards trimmed. Yellow stitching read, Inspector Oakwood HOA, professional cosplay. I grabbed the camera phone, opened the door on the chain. You're waking babies and dogs. What's the emergency? The center one, voice gravel, posture theatrical, boomed. Major power fluctuation traced to this address. Fire hazard. We need access to your main panel. I looked past him toward the curb box. The lock tab was snapped. Not a fluctuation, a flip. You cut the power, I said. Not a question. His jaw squared. Sir, we're authorized. Step aside. His palm touched my door like it belonged to him. The chain groaned. Heather's footfall behind me was soft as a sigh. She stepped into the solar spotlight in jeans and a leather jacket. Looked like any neighbor woken early and asked calm as a lake. Names, and your county solicitor permits, please, ma'am. This is an HOA emergency. She held up her ID and the gold star that runs this county. Sheriff Heather Walker, this is my residence. You're trespassing. You tampered with utility equipment, and you're attempting entry under false pretenses. Last chance, names. Silence vacuumed the porch. Their bluster evaporated. They hadn't rehearsed for a badge. Misunderstanding, the leader muttered, hands floating up. They backed toward an unmarked white van. Be at my office at 9 for statements, Heather said, still gentle. Or we come to you with warrants. They fled. Aunt Dot's light blinked 2 doors down. Shiny badge, she called. I smiled despite the pulse in my neck. Inside, I saved the door cam clip. Faces clear, shirts readable, our roof peeking over the frame. Piece 1, Heather said. We'll build a stack. The utility company confirmed what we already knew. A deliberate shutoff at the curb. Paper trail filed. That made 2. We thought the show was over. It wasn't. Bullies don't quit when you turn on the lights. They flinch, then come back meaner. And the next time, he brought pliers. 2 afternoons later, steel kissed copper at my breaker box. I heard the wrong kind of clang from the side yard, slid to the garage door, and eased it open to a finger's width. Through the gap, I filmed him. The same bearded lead, inspector, green polo, pliers biting at my meter like a dog at a bone. He wasn't shutting off power. He was trying to rip it off the wall. 30 seconds of clear video, face, tool, open panel, my property line visible. Piece 3 for the stack. I pocketed the phone and stepped out. Lose something? I asked. He spun, dropped the pliers, then squared up, thick through the shoulders. Refrigerator confidence. Mind your business, he growled, edging close. This is my business, I said. My house. The one you keep breaking. He shoved me hard, testing for panic. I didn't give him any. I just said, you're trespassing, and you're on camera again. A door clicked behind me. He's not gonna do anything, Heather said, crossing the patio in uniform, belt heavy, presence heavier. I am. Lady, you are not, he began. Sir, you're under arrest for destruction of property and assault, she said, already moving. She didn't reach for her weapon. She reached for leverage, wrist, elbow, momentum. 2 steps, 1 turn, and his bravado met grass. The cuffs told him the rest. Piece 4 clicked into place. Word travels faster than Wi-Fi when a bully face plants in a yard. By evening, the whispers had started. No one knew Heather's new title yet, but they knew the takedown, and they knew whose payroll the man had been on. Karen responded the only way tyrants know, by punishing the village. Absurd violation notices bloomed on doors overnight like mold. Aesthetically displeasing wind chimes, garden hoses not coiled in a perfect circle. Fines big enough to bruise savings. The annual HOA meeting was suddenly a powder keg. We went as civilians, jeans, blouse, back row. The room was full. Karen took the podium with a smile like a stamp. She waved off questions, called the fines, standard enforcement. Then Mr. Patel rose. Gentle, careful Mr. Patel who runs the corner store. He held a receipt and a paint swatch. "You fined me $5,000 for a mailbox wipe you approved," he said, voice shaking. "If you can't maintain standards," Karen said, lips curled, "perhaps this isn't the right community." Next, the room snapped. Henderson, a man scuffed raw by a fence dispute, stood, shouting. Two of Karen's board buddies moved to block him. Henderson made the worst choice of his life. He showed a small silver pistol, waving it with panic, not aim. Chairs scraped. People ducked. Heather didn't shout. She moved, a quiet line through chaos. She came up on Henderson's right, struck a nerve at his wrist, turned the arm, tabled him gently but firmly. The pistol skittered away, harmless. "Nobody move," she said, the command filling every corner. "Sheriff Walker, situation secure." Silence swallowed the room. Our stack grew. After the meeting, the punishment notices multiplied. Then came the one aimed at me. "Remove my work truck in 24 hours or it would be towed." I laughed, tossed the paper, and kept reading my book. At 11 p.m., air brakes hissed and amber strobe smeared across our living room. A greasy wrecker backed into my driveway. The driver hopped out, cigarette stuck to his lip, and dropped a chain under my axle. I hit record, dialed the non-emergency line, and left it on speaker. "Can I help you?" I asked. "Tow order from the HOA. Truck's leaving." "This is private property. That vehicle is legal." "Unhook and go." He smirked and kept working. The passenger door opened. A bigger man stepped down, idling a length of tow chain like a snake. He advanced, testing the boundary line. "Back off," he said, "or you'll get hurt." I know steel. Chains are force, but they're slow. "One more step onto my property and you'll regret it," I warned. He grinned and swung low at my legs, a sweeping arc meant to dump me. I moved into the swing, inside the momentum. Hands on his wrist, hip turn, weight drop, basic armbar. His body followed his arm over my shoulder and slammed flat on the concrete. The chain clattered. He groaned, arm bent wrong. The driver's cigarette fell. Aunt Dot's window slid up. "OSHA hates dumb," she said. 2 sets of headlights spilled onto the street. A patrol car and Heather's unmarked. She stepped out, took in the tableau in one glance, and started the paperwork with the deputies. The driver admitted he was paid cash by Karen through an unlicensed company. The security was a $50 day laborer. Both went in the back seat. "Another for the stack," Heather said. "She's escalating." She was right. Tuesday, I was grilling when my phone rang. Heather, from inside the house. I killed the flame and stepped in. She stood in the living room, sidearm low, phone to ear. A 911 call had reported an officer down and hostages at our address. Classic swatting, but Heather had pre-flagged our home. No sirens, no dynamic entry without her verbal confirmation. A soft perimeter formed silently under the trees while dispatch traced the VoIP call. Ping, coffee shop at Northgate. Deputies watched a man with 2 phones. Go. He bolted. A K9 met him at the back door. They recovered the burner bag. 3 throwaway phones, cash, a script, and 1 line. "Confirm with K." His name was Arthur Miller, HOA treasurer. He sang before the dog released. "Storage locker," he said. Karen's war room, a warrant later. Orange door up, air stale. Inside, racks of green inspector polos, plastic badges, stacks of pre-printed violations. Filing cabinets held twin ledgers, public fluff and private kickbacks, tow payments, fines siphoned. A box labeled complaints bulged with dossiers on anyone who resisted. Patel, Henderson, me. It wasn't community management. It was a kit to manufacture authority. Our stack was now a mountain. Even with evidence stacked to the rafters, Karen tried one more stunt. A restraining order against me. Small courtroom, stale air. Heather sat in the gallery. Conflict of interest kept her off the line. I carried a briefcase, not a speech. Her attorney performed outrage. I connected my tablet to the monitor. The video played. Chain sweeping at my legs, my warning. The step inside the arc, the leverage, the drop. The judge froze the frame mid-swing. "Counsel," she said. "Anything to rebut?" "Nothing. Denied, with prejudice. Cost to me." Transcript to the DA. The stack didn't wobble. It calcified. I thought the noise above my deck was a cicada until the pitch held steady. A drone hovered 50 feet up, lens trained on our back door. I swallowed the urge to throw a rock and raised binoculars instead. On the strut, a tiny green sticker, FAA number. I photographed it with time and GPS. Heather pulled the registry. Aerial Visions LLC, 2 months old. P.O. Box, Agent Martin Gables, 2 blocks over, married to a Lawson. Warrant served. He surrendered the quadcopter and controller. Tex pulled flight logs. Multiple passes over our home that week. plus Patels, Hendersons, and other petition signers. The card held crisp video, porches, routines, children. Not governance, stalking, another spike in the mountain. At dawn, quiet cars glided to curbs. Heather texted one word. Go. 3 teams, 3 doors. Karen, Gables, the last board member. No flashbangs, just warrants and firm knocks. Karen opened in silk and shock. Cuffs bit her wrists. The woman who weaponized bylaws squinted into daybreak like it hurt. The street didn't cheer. It exhaled. Within days, a judge put the HOA into receivership. Accounts frozen, signatures void. A resident committee set clean elections. Mr. Patel stood for service, voice steady now. The county matched the mood. Heather delivered our case file to the commissioners and proposed a rule with teeth. No HOA inspection, or tow without a written request to the sheriff citing documented cause, logged and reviewable. Abuse draws penalties. The vote was unanimous. Daylight and paperwork, the 2 things bullies can't stomach, became policy. Saturday came easy. Wind chimes, yes, the unpleasant ones, tinkled. Kids wobbled by on bikes. Aunt Dot coasted up with a fist of mail and a grin. They finally put leashes on the tin gods, she said, tapping our mailbox sunk in steel and concrete. Funny. Through all her tricks, she never messed with this. I shrugged. Maybe even she had a line. Dot winked. No, sweetheart. That's federal. Even snakes know which wire bites. Neighbors started talking at mailboxes again. Lawns looked like choices, not compliance. Kids chalked driveways. Mr. Patel waved first. The street stopped holding its breath and remembered how to breathe in daylight again. Heather leaned into my shoulder. The street looked ordinary. No strobes, no whispers. Just sun on the red roof I painted. Ordinary used to feel small. Now it feels earned. I fix machines. She fixes systems. Together we fixed our block. And this time, the repair holds. Ordinary is underrated. And today, we earned it. If you want more real HOA justice with receipts, hit subscribe. Drop your HOA story in the comments. I read everyone. And if you're ready for the next takedown, watch the video on your screen.